This is Nick Svykoskis, and today you're going to learn how he built a 7-figure carpentry business in under 2 years without going viral or launching some flashy software.
You don't have to have an online business. A third of all skilled tradespeople are going to retire over the next 10 years. So there's this increasing demand.
So if you want to start your own hands-on business with real-world skills, this is the place to be, because Nick has the exact blueprint that you need to build your own business that scales to $1 million a year.
Basically, I'm just showing people what did I do in my business that worked for me, what didn't work for me, because I want people who want to get the same result not to have to go through all the challenges. So I'm just sharing as much as I can.
Okay, everybody, I'm super excited to be here and interviewing with Nick. He is the owner of a successful carpentry business that he's grown to over $1 million a year in sales in less than 2 years. And he owns a community called The Wealthy Contractor. And he's a coach, and he's the author of a book called Optimism 2033, and a new father, and he has got a lot going on. That's a lot of stuff. How are you doing, Nick?
It's a pleasure to be here, Mike. Thanks for having me. Yeah, doing great.
Uh,
Glad to be on your show.
yeah, this is really, really cool. So, to get started, for the people that haven't heard of you, how do you describe what you do?
Yeah, so in terms of my business,
Mm.
I own a trim carpentry business. So our focus is mainly interior, residential, carpentry finishes. Our specialty is accent walls, feature walls.
Okay.
So that's who our main customer is a lot of new home buyers, and we go in there, transform their walls and their spaces. We can do ceiling treatments,
Mm.
and that's what we do in the business. And then in like you mentioned, actually it's called Wealthy Carpenter Academy now.
Oh,
We updated it to specify, because what I do there is basically I'm just showing people what did I do in my business that worked for me, what didn't work for me, because I want people who want to get the same result not to have to go through all the challenges. So I'm just sharing as much as I can in that group.
yeah. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. It's super targeted, so you have the exact answers for them. And that's what I'm excited about today, because if there's anyone out there, we really market to young entrepreneurs, and for them to see that you don't have to be doing an AI business to have a successful business. Like, you can go out there and do it in the trades. And if anyone wants to learn how to make their first $1 million, you're the guy to contact. So this is really cool.
Yeah, and I like how you said that you don't have to have an online business. And there's, like, honestly, I can tell you from my business, there's so much demand for trades right now, for
Mm.
skilled tradespeople who can communicate, who can get work done. And if you look at the statistics, it's about a third of all skilled tradespeople are going to retire over the next 10 years.
Oh,
So there's this increasing demand. So I see it as a huge opportunity for anyone willing to learn how to do the work.
yeah. Is there another way to describe, like, the perfect person that's built for this business or your community?
Uh, yeah, I would say somebody who has a business, anything carpentry related, that, like,
Mhm.
they either have one or they want to start one.
Mm.
Because I think, Mike, you could go, and if you talk to 100 tradespeople, so people working at a company in a trade, let's say they're carpenters, uh, I would bet 70% of them will tell you, yeah, I want to start my own business one day. I don't want to work for this guy anymore.
Mm.
I think there's so many people who say, oh yeah, someday I want to do this. But the ones who are, like, ready and willing to take action and say, I'm not going to wait for that to happen anymore. I'm not going to wait for somebody to give me permission, or to drop it in my lap. So the people who go out, create their own opportunities, and, like, who have that drive and that desire to say, yeah, I want to learn, I want to grow, and, like, have your own business and be your own boss, and uh, willing to do that work and then get all the benefits associated with that.
Right. And I know so you're really help coaching them. So you've gone from getting coached a lot to now you're the coach.
Yeah, yeah, and like I see it as like I'm just like turning around to help the people coming up behind me because like
Mhm.
I got so much help to get to where I am, and there's still there's still the next level I want to get to, so I get help from people who have been there, but I think there's the opportunity to turn around and say, hey, look, I just did this. It's not like I did it 10 years ago, and now I have a huge company because like in the group I share like these are the contracts that are used, these are the SOPs, this is how the templates that we send to customers, and like that's what's worked. So it's easy for me to just share what we have going on right now.
That's really cool. And as you continue to grow, they can grow behind you, right? So you're bringing them up with you from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's really cool. So what role did coaching play for you in your success?
I don't think I can say enough to encompass like how important that was. Because if I didn't have a coach in my business, it would still be me like in my mom's garage, going to job sites on my own. So this was the routine. I would wake up at 8. I would be on my computer until noon, trying to keep up with the accounting and sending quotes and replying to emails. And then from noon till probably 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., I would be on site actually doing work. And then go home, more emails, probably till midnight, and then get up and do it again. I think I would still be there because um, like I don't know another way where somebody can like give you an external perspective and say, hey, you're thinking about this the wrong way, you're going about this the wrong way, and just like this is what you need to change, and hold you accountable also to make those changes. So yeah, I think it's huge.
Yeah, I know for me it was life changing. Like I thought I'd probably lose my business without coaching, and it made such a difference. Uh, yeah, I probably would have failed and then maybe been stuck in my job till today. It could have been, or I might have tried again later. But I just I'm always trying to ask people that are successful, especially young, because how old are you? You're still young.
30.
You're 30. Okay, so I mean, that's amazing. And so, yeah, for me, it was the same way. I credited coaching to everything. And I was like, wow, what if I didn't do that? And I really want to spread the word and let people know, ask for help, copy someone who's already done it. It's so much easier.
Yeah, yeah, and I just wish I had done it easier. And I'll give you some more background. Like I did my apprenticeship in carpentry. I was working at like a big renovation company, and I told when I got hired, I told them right off the bat, I want to have my own business. And I was there for 3 4 years. I finished the apprenticeship, but then like I didn't have the confidence to go out and start my own business. So I ended up getting a job on a fire department, and I said, okay, now I can like have this safety and security of this job, and there's a lot of time off, so I can start my business on the side. But if I had just had someone to give me the confidence and say, no, just go for it, it's gonna work out. Like I'll show you what you need to do. Then I could have saved myself. That was like a 4 year sort of
Yeah.
that I could have saved. I could have just been building my business right off the bat.
Yeah.
So I wish I had a coach sooner than that.
That's my exact story. The first one, it's like it failed. I went away and it took years, 3 or 4 years before I was back trying it again. Cause you get beat down and you gotta, it takes a while to recover and then get that confidence back. And the second one almost went out, except I got a coach. And it was right in the nick of time. And it was my last money. So, and it was way more than I could afford. And I did it anyway. I'm like, I'm just going to eat soup for a little while. And it only took a month before the results came in. It was amazing.
Yeah, and like another like I think benefit that comes out of that though, like you mentioned, like you went through the struggles. I had this ski coach, and he said I wasn't the best on the team. He was on the national team, and he said I wasn't the best on the team. Like I struggled the most, but that meant that he needed the most coaching, and he picked up the most like coaching skills. So he ended up being a better coach than all those other people who were better than him at the sport.
Right.
And then so I think like you've coached me personally, and like I think that's a benefit, is like to be able to articulate and say, oh, this is what I needed to change, like this is how I learned.
Yeah.
Because if everything had just worked out the first time, then it's like what then it's you have less content to coach someone with, right? That's how I see it.
Yeah, it's funny how the people with the natural talent, they slack a lot of times,
Mhm.
and the people that they really want it and they work extra hard, they can actually start to pass the people with total natural talent.
Mhm.
And I had talent. I thought I had natural talent until I started hiring people that really had natural talent. I was like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, that's what you can do if you're really good." Like they took
Yeah.
everything that I did and they cut down the timing in like half of everything I made. Everything. I was
Uh-huh.
like, "Wow."
I've had the same thing when I hired someone and like he's better and faster than me, and I was like, well, this is amazing.
So then what I learned in business was, oh, that's who you want to hire because now I have no reason to be in that area at all. And
Yeah.
I started hiring everyone like that. And I started noticing that there was about pay. People ask me about pay sometimes. And I go, I pay, I'll pay more because if I pay someone 25% more, I might get three guys for the price of one and a quarter. And I kept doing that and doing that, and that kept happening. And so I went, oh, that might be another secret to success.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like it. Yeah, like you just said, some like one, you know, A plus team member can do the work of three B plus team members. So yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. That's
And if you pay on the low side, then you get sometimes negative, like they're not even worth a
uh-huh.
person.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been through that, and like it cost me money to have them on job sites doing work.
You thought
Yeah.
you're
So you're
saving money.
uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah, but you're not.
I'm I'm curious. I just want to rewind for 1 second. I like asking people a little bit about their childhood. I'd like, what was your childhood like, and like your what did your parents? What were they like? How is there anything that happened that helped turn you into an entrepreneur or be able to take risks?
Definitely. Yeah, I think definitely. So my parents were immigrants from Argentina, so they moved here in the '90s, just the two of them, and then they had me and my brother and sister. So we were born here in Canada. Um, but then, so one is that like they took huge risk, right? They left the country, they left all their family behind to go somewhere. They didn't even like speak the language. So I think that like set a baseline example, like, and you know, it paid off for them. So my mom is a scientist. She works in food science and fats and oils, and she travels to like the particle accelerators to do experiments with, yep, science, fats and oils. And my dad's a developer at a robotics company, and so like they created these opportunities for themselves, but they wouldn't have had in Argentina
Mm,
when they came here. That was the one example. But also because they were new immigrants, like we didn't have that much money growing up, and I heard like, no, we can't afford that. I heard that a lot, and I didn't like it. And I said, okay, well, if my parents can't afford it, I'm gonna figure out how to get money on my own so I can get what I want.
yeah.
So then, like, and that started pretty young. I remember like being in elementary school, and I mixed up, like icing sugar. I think it was icing sugar and water and into little balls, and I called them chill pills. And I was out at recess hustling these chill pills to the other like grade schoolers, and then like that carried on, and then it was like, oh, I'm gonna go down to the grocery store and get a bunch of Coca-Cola and fill my locker and sell them, like, you know, buy a skid, not a skid, buy a tray for $2 and sell each one for $1, and
Wow.
yeah, like doing those until I got caught, and then they didn't like that for some reason, but yeah, and like that evolved eventually into like And then I started like a handyman business because I didn't really have the skills, but I just put an ad out that said handyman available for hire. And I would just show up and tell people, yeah, I can do that, and then figure it out. So
I love
it,
it. That
yeah, it
is
was just like, I think that was ingrained.
the I watched I'm gonna have to get his name because I think about him a lot. There was the richest guy in India. He's a multi-billionaire. And he was talking about when he interviews people that he can tell if they're going to have an entrepreneurial spirit in his company if they had a lemonade stand or they were, when their parents let them be creative and or make them work as a kid, if they have that experience, because when you're so young, your neurons are firing in a certain way, and if you're thinking about making money as a kid, and it kind of stays in that pattern. And so,
Yeah, sort of programmed. They're like wired in that way from a young age. Yeah, yeah, totally.
because there's so many parents that are like, oh no, I don't want my kid to do any work. I just do school. But if they're not thinking about making money and doing work, that's a different way of thinking. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a whole different perspective, like looking at problems and identifying opportunities. Um, yeah, yeah, I would totally agree.
yeah,
If you have that from a young age, then that gives you a big leg up. And that's not to say it worked out. Like a lot of the time, like these little businesses, whatever, is trying, like there's a complete like flop and didn't work. But then like you just try something else, and then eventually you start to find out what works.
but you were thinking about it. So some
Mhm.
people they just don't ever think about it, and you get into your 20s or get out of college in your mid 20s, and if you've never thought about business, it might be a little bit harder.
Mhm.
Um, so Was there was there ever a point where you had a turning point where you said, "I can do something big"? Like I don't know if you were going the wrong direction or if it was just always going up. And was there ever a turning point for you?
There's probably a few turning points, but the one I can think of just off the top of my head was like I was working this miserable job. It wasn't a factory, but it was a warehouse, and we would these trucks would come in and they had rims on them, and we would take the rims off the truck and off the skid and stack them onto a different shaped skid and put them back on a different truck and send it out. And so we're just in this like miserable warehouse with this monotonous task that we're doing every day. And I was talking to this. And at that time, I had gotten the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And so on my lunch break, I was reading my book. Like the other guys were all chit chatting, and I was like, no, I want to read this. I want to, change my circumstance here. And then one day we're unloading a truck, and I must have said something in French. And this one guy, this young guy, said, well, "You speak French?" I said, "Yeah, I speak French and Spanish." So my parents are from Argentina. He's like, "Nick, why are you here? Like, why are you working in a warehouse if you speak three languages? You're overqualified." And I was like, "You know what? You're right." And then I called. It was a staffing agency we were working at, and I called them and I was like, "Hey, I speak three languages. Find me a different job." And then so they put me at a call center where I was taking phone calls for people applying to college. And then at that point, I realized, hey, there's people calling to apply to college with a university degree, like English, their history degree, and they're calling because they want to go and get an education in the trades so they can actually get a job that pays. So I thought, well, I should do that. I like,
Mm.
why would I? And I had been signed up, like I was registered and all set to go into get a degree in environmental science. And I thought, why would I do that if I'm just going to have to go and there's not going to be an actual job for me? So because I worked at that call center, I knew what all the programs were. So I went into the renovation technician program, and that led me on to do the apprenticeship and like use yeah, and that's what led me to start my company. So that's probably that turning point. It's this guy telling me, "Hey, why are you here?" Um,
Yeah, that is.
yeah,
Yeah, I think we all have those, right? And it's like,
mhm,
wow, what if that didn't happen? And
yeah,
uh, where where would I be? I mean, it's I know I had something where I was just going in the wrong direction and my friends were the wrong people. And then I
mhm,
noticed that, oh, I think I'm the wrong people.
yeah,
and
Yeah, and well, but it's so true. Like you become the average of the five people you spend the most time with, and
Yeah.
like that you interact with the most. Like it's so true.
Yeah, and so, yeah, when I talk about coaching to people, I'm like, "Why not add a millionaire to your, you can rent a rich friend, get a coach, and start thinking like them and do what they do," you know?
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly, Aaron. Yeah, go find a group, go find out where they hang out, and get around them. Yeah.
Is there something that any like people that are working with you in your community, have you seen any results from some of them yet? I know it's still fairly new, but can you give us any example of some results
So,
that people are getting?
so yeah, just like so I was on a call yesterday actually with someone, and for him it was like a mental reframe was the big takeaway from him. So like he had these beliefs in his business, and he said, yeah, there's not enough work to keep someone full time. He said, I can't hire someone because there isn't enough work to keep somebody around full time. And then his other belief was, if I hire someone, they're not going to take care of the equipment like I do. And then, so like what I explained to him, which like it clicked, like he had that light bulb moment, was like, you're making the assumption that who you hire isn't going to take care of the equipment. What if you screen in your interviews for somebody who's like has a track record of being responsible
Mhm.
and is like passionate. It's like, wow, I love machines, and they're going to take care of it. Or what if you incentivize them so that they get a bonus if the equipment doesn't malfunction, if you don't break down your machines, um, and like just thinking about these problems in different ways, or looking at, okay, there's not enough work for you. And his customer was golf courses, and I said, okay, how many golf courses is there within a 2-hour area of you? And there was like 300 golf courses within this range. And I said, okay, well, how many companies is there that are doing what you do? And there's around 500 companies provide the same service. I'm like, okay, do you think that like all the work that's getting divvied up between all these companies, is there not enough there to keep somebody occupied, like working full time? Which of course there is. And he said, oh yeah, I didn't think of it that way before. So I think that's one of the most powerful things, is like a mental reframe,
Mm,
and like checking your assumptions. And you can't really do that
yeah.
on your own, like without having someone else's perspective to say, no, actually, like you made this
Yeah.
assumption here, or like you haven't
Yeah.
you haven't thought about it in a different way. I would say that that's the big one, because I think that like that leads to the specific tactics and the actions. And then if we want to talk about more like tactics, it's really like leveraging technology, and especially in the trades, that can give you a huge advantage. So like simple AI automations. If you have a new lead come in, it used to be, I'll lead came in, I'll call them in the afternoon when I have some time. But now it's okay, I can set up an AI phone answering machine, like an AI agent to answer the phone, and it can talk to the customer, it can get their details, it can schedule, a quote for them on site, or it can just be, the AI is going to reply to their text message or to their email. So then you keep this continuity of the conversation with customers or potential customers. And like there's lots of like little
Mhm.
simple, well, relatively simple tactics like that, especially with AI. And like most trades businesses, they're not doing that. Like the guy who's 60 down the street and he's had his business 30 years,
Yeah.
like he's lucky if he's got a website at all. Might just be, there's a phone number on the front of the shop, and oh, well, I've had my customers, they know where to find me. So it becomes easy to compete in this industry because a lot of them are
Well,
behind.
that would be a really great reason to have you as a coach because you're coming in, you're not afraid of the new technology and you're actually using it. And so that, I mean, every little piece is saving an employee, right? So that really adds up. The other thing that I like that you were helping the people look at their, like their assumptions are way off. Like I don't need another employee or I don't have enough for full time. what I found is it, if it was space, like one time I rented a building that was 3 times too big, and it was an accident because I needed 1/3 of it, and
Mhm.
then the other third I was able to negotiate. I'll take that in 18 months. In in 8 months, I'd filled it up. Like I was able to
Uh-huh.
use it, but I didn't have to pay for it because, but I
Oh,
had filled it up with machines because I
yeah.
had the space, and the contracts just seemed to come in because I had space to put
Uh-huh.
machines and do things. And the same thing would happen with employees. It's like I
Uh-huh.
always had like one more employee than I needed because if you have that, it frees you up. Even if they don't, you can tell them, don't come in today and I'll still pay you. It's like when I need you. And that takes a whole day.
Right. So you always have capacity. It's not like, oh, I can't take that order because we're maxed out. You have that extra capacity and that, and then I'm sure you got more calls like, oh, call Mike to fill this order because he never said no, I can't fill your order, right?
Yeah. It just, even if, and so that I know it's hard when you're small because that leap from, having like you and a few helpers or two or three helpers to get to the next level, you actually go through a phase where you make less money. At least I did, because you have to pay people well to get good people in. And there's a period you have to have faith. It's really hard in that period of that three helpers. You almost have to get to 8 people before you're back to where you're making money, and uh, or making as much as you were. And it's hard for people to decide to do that.
Uh-huh. What what got you through that gap? So like going from 3 to 8, like what was it like for you that made you like helped you bridge that across that gap?
Well, mentally, I would have never been able to do it without a coach and being with someone that had done it before, and they were just so adamant of no, you have to do this, otherwise you're stuck. And I would have never done it on my own.
It's like you borrowed their confidence.
Yeah,
So you don't have to actually like, well, I don't know if this is gonna work, but he does, so I'll just go,
yeah,
base it on their past experience.
yeah. And
That's
I had another coach after I had sold that business. I got into home flipping, and I wouldn't. And I got a coach right away because I learned the value of coaching, especially in a new business. So I called this guy, and he'd been doing it for 20 years. And he said, call these realtors and ask them to look for these things. And I talked to 20 realtors, and they all said, I've been in this business 20 years and I've never seen anything like that. I'm like, so I called my coach. That's what they're telling me. And he's like, well, they're idiots.
uh-huh.
I would have quit right there.
Yeah, yeah,
And he's
yeah.
like, well, they don't know what they're talking. He said, call them back, get one of them to run this one report that I've been telling you to get. And
Uh-huh.
then this guy called me the next week. I finally got one to agree. And he called me the next week. You know that report, what you were looking for? I found one of those.
Uh-huh.
And it
That's
was
awesome.
like, he told me for sure, not in 20 years could he have found that.
Yeah.
It took 1 week.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I just love that power of coaching. Um, so are there any other mindset shifts that you think for contractors that they need to make to go from, like employed to business owner?
Definitely. I think the really big one is that you have to change like from technician to business owner. And like for me, that was a big shift. I said, well, like I'm a really good carpenter. I know what I'm doing. Like I'll go there and do it myself. I'll go do the work. But it's almost like you have to leave that part of you behind. It's like, no, you're not swinging a hammer anymore. Now you're the one running the business. And like all that experience, it is going to be helpful to you because you know like how to communicate what you're selling and what your expectations should be. But um, yeah, it's like you're not the technician anymore. And I think business owners who try like they want to keep doing that. It's like, oh, but I'm really passionate. I really like building stuff with my hands, and like they're better off staying as an employee because otherwise they're going to be trying to run this business where they're doing all the work, and then it's like I was when I started. You have no free time because all your evenings you're doing all this admin work, and instead just commit to make that leap and say, okay, I'm not going to be a technician. I'm going to run the business. And let me give you an example. I interviewed this business owner in town here, and he has a stair and railing company, 25 years, super successful. They have like a 40,000 square foot shop, and they're doing these like very intricate stairs. And he was in my shop, and I said, "Oh, this must remind you of when you started out. And like, how many stairs have you installed?" He's like, "Nick, I have never installed a single stair or a handrail." And it blew me away. He said, "I started out in a Home Depot parking lot, and he sold a new staircase to someone, and then he went and found a guy at Home Depot to install it for him." And like, and that's what he's done ever since. He's had other people doing the work, and like he grew the business. And so he entirely skipped that step of like technician doing it yourself. And I was like, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could just skip straight to other people are doing the work and you're collecting the money. So like that reframed my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really like be a business owner.
Yeah. So so someone needs to know that going in. Okay. So we're
Mhm.
changing the game here. We're not a technician anymore.
Yeah.
And you have to realize that when you're working, you need to work on your business and not in it. And
Hmm.
I definitely got to the point where if I was ever working on something, something was wrong. It's like,
Yeah.
it becomes strategy and team building uh, and finding just always optimizing that becomes the job.
Hmm.
And I like that part of it. So it was right for me. I had a similar experience but this was either at the end or after it's after I sold my business.
Uh-huh.
I had built it up. I started with 2 machines, and I was a machinist for years before I did it. And
Hmm.
then I built it up like one contract at a time. It was so hard to get in and sell and buy these things. And then, or I would say to get the sales, because each customer they're hard to get. I mean, it is, especially the big ones that I was going after.
Hmm.
And when I was done, I had met a guy that he kind of took off after I had sold, and he grew really fast. And I asked him how he did it. And he said, well, first of all, he's an accountant. I'm like, you're
Uh-huh.
an accountant and you own a machine shop? How is that even possible? Right. And he's like, oh, yeah, I like to get in there and fix the machines once in a while. But he knew nothing about machining, but he bought a little machine shop and it had a couple good guys in it. And then he bought another one and he went and he got a new set of customers by buying one that was going out of business.
Hmm.
And then he bought another one. So he never even went out and sold one thing. Every shop that he bought already had contracts and he just milked them and just took it to the next level.
Uh-huh.
So he was
Wow.
the ultimate entrepreneur. He never even had to go out and sell anything. It was all just if if he wanted to be bigger, he just bought another company.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and it comes with everything you need. Yeah, and you just
Right.
went straight to the top, sort of top level.
Yeah. And it
Uh-huh.
blew me away. I was like, man, that was smart.
Uh-huh.
I did that after I actually, after I sold my business, I went into venture capital and I was in investing.
Hmm.
And I sat down with billionaires that were investing, and I invested with them.
Hmm.
And it was really interesting because they already knew who they were going to sell the company to before they even started it.
Wow. Yeah,
I was like, oh, wow,
that's
that's a different way. I mean, when I started, I was like, I'm just trying to make a living. I want to eat, but I don't want to work for someone.
uh-huh. Yeah, so they're like beginning with the end in mind, really, and like, and then I guess that takes away most of the risk, right? Because it's like you already know this is how it's going to go. This is the exit plan, and like,
Yeah, and like one of the guys I partnered with, he had actually owned one of the companies that was a potential buyer, and there was 3 or 4 others, and he knew that they all had the same problem because he used to be the CEO of one of the competitors. So he's like, I know all 4 of these have this big problem, and the problem we were solving, people thought it was unsolvable, but it ended up some mathematician figured it out. And so we went in and solved that problem. But I was kind of blown away that it was like, wow, because it didn't happen once. It was like the three that I worked on with that group, they already knew who was going to buy it before they sold. And I thought, that's a different way to do it. You got to start somewhere. So you do what you can. Um, is there a message that you would like any contractor or all of the contractors out there to know right now that they're stressed, they're stuck, and they're wondering if it's even possible to build real wealth in business?
Yeah, like I'll tell you personally. So like I've been there where I was super stressed, super stuck, and I thought like I should just shut this down and like go do something different. But I think that there's this ceiling that you get, like you come up against this ceiling in your business, and that's where like the pain, it's like a pain threshold, and you're like this is painful, like the doubt and like the fears come up, and if you go through that on the other side of that, like that's where the success comes. That's where things start to work out and the snowball effect um, starts to work in your favor. So yeah, it's just like keep going, keep pushing, because you can make it. As long as you don't quit, then you can't fail. And at the same time, you have to be willing to learn and like to grow and develop yourself, because like the company can only grow as much as you can grow. And if you don't if you don't change what you're doing, like your results aren't going to change. But definitely like there's opportunity, and in any trade, like in any everywhere in the construction industry, there's just huge opportunity. So yeah, my message would be just keep going.
Yeah, that's a really good point because that part where you feel like quitting, that's where everyone feels like quitting,
Mhm.
and most of them do. And if you hang in there, you're going to beat the competition just by getting through that next thing. And if you don't have a coach at that point, that's the point to get one and go, "Hey, I need help." And sometimes you only need a coach for a month and you
Mhm.
get through and then you can call them later. You don't it's like the
Yeah,
coach doesn't
no,
tell
exactly.
you what to do. They pull it out of you and what are you ready for? So you don't have to worry about a coach sitting there going, "You do this and you do that." It's like, no, when you need help, they're there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Um, So, is there anything that you would like to uh, bring up that you think is important that I didn't ask about?
um well, like I'll offer this. I have a like gift for your listeners. So um if they hear us talking about implementing AI in your business in construction, I put together a playbook of like all the software that I use in my business. We've tested, we've tried lots of different things, and this is what's worked. So I put all that together into a playbook that explains how to use it, and there's like a lot of AI tools in there. So if anyone wants a copy of that playbook, you just find me on Instagram. It's Nick Svike, NICK underscore SVAIK on Instagram, and just DM me AI playbook, or AI playbook, and I can send them that.
Okay, yeah, we'll put that in the notes below too, so they can just click on it. Um, let's see here. Yeah, I guess that's really it. I would just follow up with anyone that's in the trades, like definitely contact Nick for coaching. I've worked and talked with people over the. I've known Nick for a couple years, and nobody is more dedicated to their business and up on the high tech to make it as easy as possible, and like really into coaching, and so it really cares about other people. So I just wanted to add that because that's my experience, and it's just amazing. So thank you
Appreciate it,
very
Mike.
much, yeah, for coming on, and look forward to having you on again later and see how everything's going.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's honor to be here with you, and at the same token, like I wouldn't be here in my business if it wasn't for your coaching. So like to get to that level, um, yeah, people should be talking to Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like that's what made the difference in my business. So yeah, I appreciate it. I'm glad to be on here and having the conversation.
Yeah, thank you. And we will talk again soon. Have a good one.